How are things, Man United fans? Welcome back to another very important video for Mason Greenwood fans. Throughout the rest of this video, we'll be covering the latest article that has recently been published by the news website Daily Mail, and I'll be sharing with you guys my own personal takes on the matter as well, and of course we will go into the different aspects of the article. If you want to be aware of the latest updates regarding Mason Greenwood, stick with me until the end of this video. Alright, as the latest Daily Mail article in relation to Mason Greenwood states, Mason Greenwood deeply wants to return to Manchester United and start training with the team, and he has had talks with the club officials about the same matter. So the gist of the story, as I said, is that he wants to return to Manchester United trainings as soon as possible. However, Manchester United heads and officials want to put off the talks for his return for now until the end of the season, and they have also told Greenwood that he might not return to the trainings even until next season. Alright, now that you've understood the gist of the story, let's go through the article with each other from Daily Mail, which is a pretty reliable source when it comes to football news. The article goes into the fact that Greenwood has been told to stay away from training until at least the summer or next season. He has had extended talks with Manchester United officials, and he has expressed his strong interest to return to the team and commit to the team. These are the exact words on the article. So let me tell you guys what I make of this part of the article. It is not shocking, obviously, that he wants to return to Manchester United. His career needs to go and get back on track. Let's be honest with each other. What happened to Mason Greenwood dealt a huge blow to his career, to the point that Manchester United officials even considered selling him to Turkey at one point. Fortunately, that is not the case anymore, and we have covered that in another video separately. If anyone else was in Greenwood's shoes, obviously, they would have wanted the same thing as Mason does, and that is choosing Manchester United over any other team to get their career back on track. Greenwood has already lost 2 precious years of his career, 2 years that he could have gained more experience and even become a pivotal player for the team, but unfortunately, those 2 years are never coming back. So what Mason is doing right now by expressing that he wants to return to training as soon as possible is actually a very sensible request on his side and makes sense. There are no doubts or questions about it. Another thing that can have an impact on Greenwood's return, as we have covered in numerous videos, is the perception that people at the club have for him and what they actually think about him with the latest updates in his story and his situation. Even the Daily Mail article states that and says that Manchester United staff are split on Mason Greenwood's return, in a way that, for instance, the staff in football department believe that he deserves a second chance, whereas commercial executives are not really in favor of that decision, and they're concerned about the consequences his return can have and the damage it can possibly deal to the club's reputation in terms of the club's image and what people think of the club. Now, personally speaking, I understand where this concern is coming from. If you have followed our content in a while, we have covered in multiple videos how even different players have different takes when it comes to Mason Greenwood's situation. Some people are straight up against him coming back to the club, and some people are on the fence and have not made their minds yet. So this situation has even become a moral dilemma to the players and people in the club, and most of them are torn on it. Hell, even in our community on our channel, we have seen different takes, and I respect all of them. For instance, a lot of people on women's team have stated that they don't like the idea of him coming back, and they're entitled to have their own opinion. However, regardless of our personal opinions, you have to also take into account all the facts in Mason Greenwood's case. Case in point is the fact that the person who sued him in the first place has dropped the case. Greenwood's case never went to court, and therefore it is no longer a criminal case. And honestly, now that I think about it, it never was to begin with. It has always been more of a silly argument between a couple. Now, have both Greenwood and his girlfriend and soon-to-be wife been making rational decisions? Of course not, but who does at this age? I believe Greenwood has suffered the ramifications enough. His public image has been damaged, and his career is still up in the air. But I think that the ramifications he has faced have been more than enough to some point. Now that more time has passed, I personally, as a content creator on the channel, have come to the conclusion that it is fairly likely that he will eventually return to the club, and the signs are also a clear indication for that. For instance, Manchester United turning down Turkish offers. In addition, another sign was the recent story that Manchester United is considering a TV interview to give him a redemption chance. I can't help but think that all of these things considered, chances are he will return, but it is a matter of time. I think when when even more time passes, people will gradually care less and less about Greenwood's argument with his current girlfriend and soon-to-be wife. And even right now, more people also think that he has to come back to the club in comparison to a month ago or even 2 months ago. And it is all because of the fact that legally, he has never been condemned, and all of it was just a silly argument between two people. Now, don't get me wrong. Had his case become a criminal case, that would have been a different ballgame, and I also would have a different opinion right now. But as I said, you have to pay attention to the facts of the situation, and the main fact is indicating that Greenwood has legally done nothing wrong. Now, at the same time, there's another big thing that can increase the likelihood of Greenwood's return, and that is money, which even Daily Mail's article has pointed out. Under the circumstances that something drastic happens and Manchester United heads draw the conclusion that Greenwood has to go, Manchester United has to pay him £8 million. Remember, according to the law, Greenwood was not found guilty, so legally he hasn't done anything wrong, and Manchester United will be legally obligated to pay him his full wage and salary. Also, I want you guys to consider the fact that Manchester United have been paying him during the last 2 years, and if they let him go, they will have to pay him another £8 million. And worst of all is that Greenwood will play somewhere else for half the money, if not for free, and he will score goals, and there's nothing Manchester United heads can do about it in that case but to watch him. At the end of the day, we have to remember that football is a business and money talks, and finance-wise, I think it is not wise decision-making provided that Manchester United heads come to the conclusion that they have to let Mason Greenwood go. Now, I get it. A lot of people's concern comes from the fact that Greenwood's return will hurt Manchester United's brand financially, but I don't think that is the case, simply because he has not legally done anything wrong, and with the passage of time, most people will forget all the controversy surrounding him, let's say 2 years from now. In the end, I think it all boils down to money, and that is another sign for his return at the end of the day. Now, I don't want to sound biased, and I'm not. I get it. Still, the biggest obstacle for Greenwood is what the sponsors think, in addition to the whole morality of the situation. As always, I want you guys to feel free to share your thoughts and perspectives on the matter. Here on the channel, we respect all the takes and opinions. Maybe you think he deserves a second chance, but not in Manchester United. He can get his second chance somewhere else. You just simply don't want the controversy in Manchester United. Whatever you think, tell us in the comment section. Here on the channel, we cover all Manchester United latest news. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any of our latest content. Also, leave a like if you found this video informative. It can really help us guys with YouTube algorithm. And last but not least, there is another video that I want to recommend to you guys if you want to be aware of the latest details regarding the takeover of our club. That's it for me guys in this video. Take care of yourself.